everyone in the audience. Thank you to Tanvi and to Uma for the conversation. So we're going to move on to the next artist talk and conversation. It's my great pleasure to first introduce Moushumi Bhowmik, who's a singer, a writer, and a collector of songs and sounds, and memories, I might add. Her work is largely concentrated on the question of what and where home is. She's based in Kolkata, but she travels between India, Bangladesh, and the UK, collaborating with artists and scholars across disciplines, academic disciplines, as well as different artistic practices and other modes of knowing. Moushumi is also the main caregiver and caretaker of the Traveling Archive, field recordings and field notes from Bengal, which is a website, www.travelingarchive.org, which I highly encourage you to explore, to delve into, to stay with for multiple periods of listening. She co-created it with the sound recordist Shrikanta Majumdar. She's recently submitted her PhD thesis on wax cylinder recordings, and she's been a pillar, integral part of this project at every stage. So it's an enormous pleasure to have her with us, and she will speak first, placing the song, and or listening within a flow of time is the title of the talk, and then she will be joined in conversation by Venus, who I'll introduce actually maybe. I'll introduce you when you come up, actually. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Is mic working? Not yet. Very loud anyway. Yeah, amplified is how Uma likes things. Yeah. So, how do we even begin to say thank you for being part of this very rich and very rewarding journey that I'm very grateful to Lida for taking me on this journey. And I have been with friends and have made new friends all along through this entire, it's now 10 years. So it's a time for celebration. So, as Brooke was saying, that I wrote a doctoral thesis over a very long time. I took to write. So it took me about, I don't know how long, but towards the end of it, I just submitted it in July, at the end of July last year. And, but I was working on this project with Nida from before. So I think it actually helped me to also write my thesis. I learned so much. It really shaped my thoughts. Because I'm not an academic, and I find it hard unless you hold the material in your hands. So there is a materiality to sound, even if you. So, did you hear those voices as somebody said? Did you hear them? Like someone asked Uma, can you hear them? So that is what we would call in Bangla or shoriri, the disembodied sounds. But sound has a body. Even if it is disembodied, it has a body. And you can hold it, actually, in your hands. And I began to see the connection, the relation, the weaving of sound and time. As a singer, I've always sung. So from the time I was small. So you have to learn time in a certain way when you sing. So you learn the beats, you learn the different tals, and you learn about pace. So you learn about, how you do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. You learn about 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So Dadra Karva, you learn all the names of the tals, you learn these things. But, and you learn it with your body actually. So it's like a dance and learning. But here I learned about time in a different way. In the course of my work in the field and in the course of my work for many years in the field. So this actually, the PhD is not what my work is about. I've been doing this work, traveling and listening and collecting songs and sounds for, I don't know now, 2 decades at least. That also came out of my own practice, and I don't really enjoy being on stage so much or performing or having that career. I'm not a career musician, and so and I think just listening to my own voice or just making others listen to my own voice doesn't make much sense. It should be, music is shared. You listen to others and others listen to you. So that kind of sharing was very important for me. Politically, it's very important. I believe in the collective. In my politics, personal politics, I very, very strongly believe in sharing and in the collective. I believe in creating work together and in listening together. So this is something that I could do in the field. So when I say I'm placing this song, I'm going to talk about this place. This is a place, this map comes out of my thesis. This is a place, you see it, when you look at it, it's, what is it? On the wall of my hotel room, there is a map of Abu Dhabi and of the Emirates. What is it? It's just an image. But we have to see that this is actually part of something much bigger. So when I'm placing the sun here on this map, but this map is actually placed on a much, much larger space. This map is part of a whole universe, and all the lands and all the sounds of those places go to form the sound of this place. It's not, no way we can see it in isolation or listen to it in isolation. Go to the next. So I had this idea that who are we as listeners? So there's many kinds of listeners that we can be. The insider listener, the outsider listener, outsider listeners of different kinds. So Uma was saying about being a technical listener. I'm an emotional listener, and I don't have a problem with that. I'm deeply emotional, and I'm like that. And listening for me is very emotional, and so that emotion in listening, and that is, as an insider, you feel a certain emotion because you know the song, you know the language, you know the people, you know the place, or some of it. You don't know all of it. But as an outsider, you have other emotions. You have emotions of anger, you have emotions of frustration. Why is this sound not being recorded? How come so-and-so's song is in an archive and so-and-so's isn't? Why is this amplified and why is that not amplified? All of those things are also emotional. So, and also, of course, the text and the context, both. They're both, I think, they bring out emotions from the listener. But then there is also this thing of the sound, the outsider listener who just passes by a sound and does not take notice. And when do we take notice of something? And when do we not take notice of something? we go to the next one. So I work with I've been working for many years, and this is also at the archives where Uma has worked, the Archives and Research Center for Ethnomusicology. There's this whole body of recordings, wax cylinder recordings from the 1930s, made by a Dutch scholar, and his name was Arnold Baker, so B-A-K-E, Arnold Baker. I did not meet him. I did not start to work on his recordings because I wanted to work on Arnold Baker or anything. It's because I work in the field, because I've been working in Bengal, because Bengal is my map. I come from Bengal in the east of India, and there is no place by the name of Bengal anymore. There used to be, but post-partition in 1947, we no longer have a Bengal. We have Bangladesh, we have West Bengal, we have scattered bits of Bengal across a whole geopolitical location. And then there is also people who travel. So, who travel to, I believe a lot of the people who were working in concrete are they were they Bangladeshis there? I don't know. But who was saying that? Or maybe, I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, there are people who travel to different places from this land. So Bengal is a land into which a lot of sound has traveled, and a lot of sound has traveled out of Bengal. So it's that place, it's very amorphous. It's always forming and reforming itself. It's that place where Arnold Baker had come at the time of the poet Rabindranath Tagore, to his university in Shantiniketan, which was an experimental world university. It was like we have so many now international universities. It was a international university in its time, and it was an experimental school. So there Baker had come, post First World War. He had come, and he came with he was a Sanskrit scholar, and he came with he had a thesis to write. So he came to do that, but he was also a singer, and he was a musician, and he became friends with musicians and collectors of sound and songs, and so he became interested and he was very interested in the music of Tagore. He wanted to learn those songs. He knew about those songs from before. So he wanted to come and learn those songs. So he started learning. Then he decided that, he wanted to come back and make recordings. So after 4 years, after finishing his thesis, he came back with a machine from Berlin. So he came back with a phonograph. And he came back with the phonograph and and with wax cylinders, and he started making recordings in Bengal and across India. I found his recordings in the context of my own work. I found his recordings in the archives in London, and then it was like meeting a fellow field researcher or a fellow listener to my own songs, but who listened 85 years before me. So I met him in the field. I met Arnold Baker in the field. So this place, Arnold Baker has been here to a place called oh no, but the map is gone anyway, I forgot. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, so there's a place called, these are the rivers here, and there's a place called Moinadar here. It's there under the Kopai upland. There is Moinadar, and it's this place where he went to listen to record some songs This was a family of singers, and this was a family of musicians and who sang devotional songs, and they had a temple in their home, and they were singing for the last 500 years. So this is at that time about 400 years. So he went to this home at the time of the festival around the birth of Lord Krishna, and that is when they have this 2-day-long festival and singing, music and ceremonies. He went to listen to them, and then because he'd met somebody from the village in another place, and so he learned about this place, and then he decided he would go here. So Barker didn't write long, did not keep a lot of notes about his work. But what he did was he used to write long letters to his mother. So every Wednesday, which used to be the weekly holiday in Shantiniketan, there were long letters that he wrote. His mother suffered a lot because he wrote these long field notes and description of things that happened. And so he's writing about this place. He's writing the same accommodating little clerk in the police station came with me to show me the way because the bullock cart driver didn't know it. It was already past 4 and it seemed to me good to be there before dark. The landscape was very beautiful, more hilly than over here, with mountains on the horizon, no real mountains, I think about 300 meters, and such beautiful green with river winding through it, and the heavy clouds in the sky, and the colors of the evening. As soon as the bullock cart driver knew the way by himself, the clerk and I took a shortcut by foot through the rice paddies, which made us arrive at least half an hour earlier in Moinadal. This place is called Moinadal. In Moinadal, than the vehicle. It is an average-sized village, many signs of decline in it, but very charming. It turned out that Nabagopal Mitra Thakur, so this is the man he had met before in another place. Nabagopal Mitra Thakur, whose address I had, was out doing groceries, but his younger brother, Gobindo, received me most pleasantly and said it was no problem at all if I stayed and that he would find a place for me. The thing is that we don't know. This was a moment, this was the present for Anand Barker that day. On the 13th or 14th of August 1933. It was something that was happening on that day. But the fact is that this Gobindo Gopal Mitra Thakur, whom he met, in this story, when we see Gobindo Gopal again, later in the story, we realize that in that moment, there was the possibility of a future in that encounter. We don't know it. When Barker is writing this letter, we do not know that there is the possibility of a future in this moment. But a future happens from this moment. It takes us from this moment. How does it happen? If we go, so we found. If we go to the next one, please. So these are two. This is the cover of a 1966 album that Bipin Bhattacharya, who was a music collector. Robert has done a book of his notebooks, from his travel notebooks. He lived in Paris, and he was a Bengali who grew up in Benares, and he made some of the earliest, and most interesting recordings of the songs of the Bedouins. He made recordings of Baul songs in Bengal. He made some of the early recordings which became commercial albums. It's not like he made the first recordings, but his recordings became commercial albums. And so this recording, you see Govinda Gopal is on this album. So he has begun to make a journey. So what happens on that day, when actually one of the Anand Baka has met somebody, this man has also met Baka. And he recognizes that in this moment there is a possibility. In this encounter, there is a possibility of moving to some other place in the future. So he recognizes that moment as a moment of possibilities. So that is why Govinda Gopal and Nabagopal, these two brothers, there were many other cousins, many other brothers in the family. But they are the ones who invite Baka because they see that the phonograph is important. This man with the machine is important. And if he comes to our village, it's going to be important. They recognize that moment. So what they do is, then slowly we see that Govinda Gopal is moving. They move out of the village, they go to the city of Calcutta, they go and sing for the radio, they recorded. So they go places. These are the two brothers. Otherwise, this village, the people in this village, they have remained in the village, gone far. But he has. So, in this, at the exhibition, you're going to see two films, which are from 1994, from this village. So we went to the Travelling Archive, Shukankar and I, we went to the village in 2014. And Baka went in 1933. So what happened was between 1933 and 1994, we have the 1966 recording from the village. I mean, it wasn't made in the village, it was made in another place. These people were performing somewhere and Devin Babu recorded them there. But then we have the 66 recording, and then we have 1994, we have the same festival. The same festival to which Baka had been in 1994, there's a film from it. So by now, the family is beginning to see the importance of actually recording and keeping a record of their heritage, their music. Clearly, there is also a sense that this will not last. So they need to keep a record. So that's why they, if we go to the next one, that's the album. If we go to the next one. Yeah. So this was Anand Baka's photograph of someone called Kalyakantu Mitra Thakur. Baka recorded him, and he recorded his father, and he was accompanying his father. And they're great percussionists. So he was recording his father, and I forgot to insert this clip, so I'm going to just play it from here. You should also get to hear the sound of the cylinder. Another one. It's going round and round the right cylinder, and the percussion is very down there. That's his father playing the khol. The khol is that clay drum that he's holding. And he made some mistakes. He was playing the cymbal, the korta, and he made some mistakes. So Baka makes a note of that, says that played with some mistakes. So, okay, I'm going to stop here. How do I start?
It's fine, it's fine.
Okay, so, but then in 1994, this boy is this man. So he still plays in the film. In the film, you see him playing the chord. He's an old man now. He hasn't traveled out of the village. And the person who was interviewing him, I see him in this film, but I have seen him before because I've seen him in 2014. I have seen an older version of this interviewer. I've seen an earlier version and a later version of this interviewer. So he becomes a central character in my story. His name is Nitai. So, but how do we notice, how do we take, so we pass sounds by. Why do we take notice of something? Why? This is a question, as a singer, I find very hard to explain. I can't tell you. But we notice things. So what makes us connect? And there is no one thing. There are many things that happen. With one sound, we connect in a certain way for a certain reason. With another sound, we connect in another way for another reason. So if we go to the next one, this is a recording. Just play it. This is a recording from 2014. Volume down. So what happened, this was 2 days of festivities, 2 days of intense singing and endless singing that's going on. So this is a clip from that whole section of singing, that whole recording. It's not just this that happened, so many other things happened on that day. But somehow, this song, it struck me. And I felt that day, and I felt as I re-listened to the recording again, over and over, I felt I want to know this song. What is it about this song? I didn't quite actually understand the words either. But, so as I became friends, so I keep going, my thing with the field is that I keep going back to the field. So that's the thing about burrowing. I keep going back to the field. It's never enough, just to go once, do your research, have a questionnaire, come home, write your paper, that's done. That's not how it should be for me. I don't know about others, but it doesn't work for me. So I go back again. They know me, I know them, and slowly there's this question of trust that builds. We can stop this. So I tell the son of Kaliyakanta, the little boy who became an old man, his son is one of the main persons I have interacted with in my fieldwork in Moinadad. So Nirmal Indu Mitra Thakur, I call him Nirmal Da. We say Da for like an elder brother, so we say Nirmal Da. So Nirmal Da, they don't let their daughters sing in the family, okay? But he has taught me a song. So he's taught me some songs actually. So I said, Nirmal Da, I want to learn this song. What is this song? So he taught me the song, and it's actually, I know why I want to sing it. Because it's just the emotion of it, so it goes, so in that moment when I recorded, there was a future for me, you see. Just as there was a future for Govinda Gopal in that encounter, there was a future for me as I was listening to that song. So, Nide Oche Tono tono rani rani chitano na mane nide tono rani rani chitano na mane chitano hoila putra dekhila boyane nide. Actually, I wanted to sing this. It's so. I knew when I heard it that this is what I wanted to sing. You know, that is what happened. So that future, actually, it's not just the future. It's also my past. How I've grown up. I've grown up with music. What I've learned to listen to. What I learned to appreciate. What moves me. And that I heard in this song, in that recording from our 2014 recordings. I heard that bit. But the thing is, then I can actually deconstruct this song. I can also tell the story of this song. So what is this story? It's seeing the birth of Krishna. What's the story of the birth of? So there are myths here. There is mythology here. So what is the birth of Krishna? What's the story? So he was, Krishna was born to Vasudeva and Devaki, but there was a curse. There was a curse on Krishna's uncle, maternal uncle, that if his sister had a daughter, had a child, this child would kill him. So these are clan wars. So there are clan wars. So basically they put Devaki in a prison because she was pregnant. But they found a way to take the child away from the mother, and she grew up with, and he was taken to his foster mother. So his adoptive mother took him, and that is Joshoda. So he grew up. So Joshoda is sleeping. It's as if she's going to give birth to a child, but she's not giving birth. She's going to hold the baby in her arms. But it's like this moment of birth that's happening. You can tell this story in so many ways. So you can tell the story of this song in so many ways. You can give a complete feminist interpretation of this song. You can tell it from the perspective of gender. You can talk about it in so many ways. But for me, that's all not so important. I really would like to sing these lines, you know. Rani Chitano hoya putra dekhila boyane hodalo chetono rani dekhi apana. And this song with the birth of Krishna makes me think about a song that I had recorded in Sylhet in the east of Bangladesh from a very senior singer. These two women we had recorded. We brought out from Travel Archive Records an album of the songs of these two women. They're both in their 80s when we met them, and they're living archives, so the embodied archive. With her, something is gone. Even if we record them, if you show the next image, please. Yeah. So she came to our house. This is my home, and she came, and she has died since. And this is Chandrabati, and so again Chandrabati Barman. And so Chandrabati, we started calling her. So just as I say Nimolda, I say Chandrabati Mashima. She is Aunt Chandrabati. So she becomes Aunt Chandrabati, and she's also taught me songs. So there's a song about Krishna and this relation of Joshoda, the mother who adopts Krishna, and the relation, she's so protective of Krishna. So this song that I learned goes like this. Very beautiful song. Ami jabo nayat. So it's Krishna was saying, I cannot go to play, he's telling his friends, because my mother doesn't want me to go. She's very scared. She doesn't want me to go because I'm going to be hurt, something is going to bad is going to happen to me, so I can't do it. I can't just, I'm sorry, you people go and play, I can't go with you. So this little boy Krishna is telling his friends. So he's saying, Ami jabo nayat Gocharone Sridam re tor Binoy kene Ami mae ekela kanai Ami bine amar mae Arto lakhunai. Krishna is Kanai. So I'm my mother's only Kanai. Without me, she has nothing else. Ami koshthe gele pane ami koshthe. So if I go with the cowherd, this is a cowherd community. So they take their cows for grazing. If I go to the field, then my mother's heart is going to break. Ami goshthe gele pane ami goshthe gele pane bhave matha pashane Sridam re tor. Why are you pleading me? Stop it. Don't ask me to go because I can't go with you. Binoy kene ami jabo nayat gocharone Sridam re tor Binoy kene. Go to the next one. This one. If you just play it here. So this is there in the you see this is there in the exhibition. This is the 1994 film. Now notice this person is dancing. It's beautiful dancer, absolutely beautiful. So he stands up and that happens. Stop. So he's the same person. He was younger, the one who was interviewing. You see, if you play it a little, if you can fast forward it a bit and play, because when we recorded him, there he is. This is what he became. This is what he was, and this is what we found him. So, those of you who haven't seen it should go and see it, the film. But also it's going to be on my website as part of the whole research that I've done. I'm doing a whole section on my thesis and so on. Anyway, so what happens with Nitai? This is also, in this moment, there is also a future that is written. What is this future? This future is this, that Nitai's wife told me about another place. So, where I was looking for a place, another place on that map, on the first map, I was looking for another place where Baka had been. So I was looking for that place, and then she said, I know this place because I come from there. So I had Nitai's number with me. So I called him. About a year after this, I called his number. Nobody answered. I called again. Then, so he picked up. And I said, very quickly I went into my question, So I said, Nitai, I wanted to talk to your wife about Mongoldihi because that's where I want to go. I need to go there. So can you please give me some contacts, etc. There was silence, but I was hearing some other sounds, and there was the sound of wind. So I said, I stopped and I said, is that Nitai? He said, the person who'd answered said, isn't this Nitai's number? I asked. He said, yes, it is. I said, is this Nitai then? Because the voice sounded different. He said, no, he has died. And I said, what? He said, yes, we are in the crematorium, we've come with his body, we are now, And the sound that I was hearing was of the wind and the fire that was coming to me. So in this dance, in this moment, there are so many, that's what I mean, where do I stand? In the flow of time, in the flow of sound, where do I stand? What is my position? It's very hard to say. Because I was thinking about, actually, Nida sent me some of Maurice's music and the sound of the elemental sounds that I hear in your track. And I was thinking, that track could be part of this story. And I was thinking, because the fire there burning, the wind, and this story of endlessness, actually. Because Nitai did not end there. It's just he transitioned. And so we will, I don't know how long I've been going on for, too long maybe, but I had just a little bit more to say. Should I? Or should I stop now? I could end here because it's a good place to end, but I had just one little thing more. What do you think, Nida? Should I? Okay, so we could go to the next one, please. Yeah, so this is what it is. I do not want to leave. Yeah. So if you play it. This is again from the 1994 film. Okay, stop sex. This is him, Govinda Gopal Mitra Thakur, who had met Anand Bhatt in 1933. He is the most senior person in the family. So this is the last ritual song that they sing. And so he is leading the song. Next to him is sitting Kalia Kanto, the boy who had made mistakes. So they are the two of them sitting there. Okay, I'm going to go on. And we recorded this very same festival, this same ritual. Yeah, okay. So, I like to tell the story of this song from a different perspective. It's this song. In this song, they're saying that they're singing to their deity, and they're singing to their presiding deity. They're singing to Chaitanya, who is the sage poet of Bengal, and they're singing to him and saying that bless us so that we never have to leave this land. Bless us so that we can always be here. 500 years they've been there and they don't want to leave. They're scared of leaving. They said, even if it's heaven, I don't want to leave. That's the last song that they're singing. What happens to a song when we take it from its land and when we travel with it, when we take it to another place, what happens to it? If I were to sing it, I'm here in Dubai in a gallery, a very curated space, a very strange space, with friends in my own bubble. But where do I belong? Which home am I talking about? Which land? Where am I? Whom am I saying? Who is my God? And whom am I asking to keep me and protect me, give me shelter? Especially in this time of, where we're losing home all the time. This time of losing home, our homes, and forever. How many of us have the privilege to say, I have a home and I do not want to leave it? How many of us have that privilege? Our histories, our pasts are so there's so much cruelty in our histories that we've lost homes again and again and again. So when I sing this song, when I sing as a traveler, I'm privileged, but say someone else sings it, who's having to move, sings shoo, and here they have the solo and the chorus. So one person sings, the eldest sings, and then the whole community. Which community? Who will sing with me? So I have to be my solo voice as well as my chorus. You see, I'm both. So I have to be Shruti Nandan Nath. It becomes a song of lament. Doya koro more ei kripa koro Prabhu jeno তোমায় না পাশুরি। Bless me so that I never forget you. যেখানে সেখানে যেন জন্মিয়া না মরি। So let me not die anywhere, Let me die in my own land. কুকুর করিয়া রেখো যেন নিজ ভক্ত গৃহে, যেখানে তোমার যাত্রা মহোৎসব নাই। There is no festivity in your name. Even if it is heaven, don't take me there. So don't bring me to the Bible. হইলে তাহাও নাহি চাই হে। But bring me to Alserkal. It's a very beautiful place. যেখানে তোমার যাত্রা মহোৎসব নাই, ইন্দ্রলোক হইলে তাহাও নাহি চাই হে। সচি